Well, out of high school, Tristen Hoge was the top-rated center in the country. He went to Notre Dame for a couple of seasons, transferred to BYU, sat out as a redshirt, started every game at guard last season. Now he's a junior and one of the leaders on this BYU team. Here's my conversation after practice with Tristen Hoge. Tristen, halfway through fall camp, how are you feeling physically?
Feeling great physically, doing a lot of prehab and rehab, and my body's being good to me this time.
How did the preparation over the summer make it so this camp you guys were able to kind of sprint into it? That's what a lot of guys have said.
I think that's a big thing is we're staying with the same offense. The thing is that we're able to go into this, into this fall camp and just kind of, get into it instead of a lot of teach. Like there's still install, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, we know what we're doing. It's more refinement rather than just straight teaching.
From a few years ago when you first showed up, it's a different offense. And this year's offense is different than last year's. So how have you tried to keep up, I guess, physically with the pace of, okay, we may run a few more plays, you got to run a little more?
That's one thing that our strength coaches have been, drilling us all over the summer. Our strength coach is a testament to what they've done, in that long training season, is getting us ready for these moments, getting us in football shape. And of course, football shape's a different kind of shape, but they do the best of getting us strong and fast and getting prepared for this. So it's a huge testament to them. And, our staff, that's helping us rehab and all that, they've really helped us take care of our bodies and limit the injuries.
In basketball, it's easy to quantify what a guy's working on in the offseason. Oh, I'm going to add this move or whatever, right? James Harden's going to travel in this way now or whatever. For an offensive lineman, what's that like where you go, I specifically want to do this? What are some of those things for you?
Usually one of the things that we like to do is we like to focus on maybe a couple things because we can't overload our minds because we really we can work one thing in pass and one thing in run maybe a day because if we do too many things that we're not focused on any of them. So one thing that I've really wanted to focus on this season and throughout this offseason was my pass sets and getting those a little more concise, getting them faster, getting them, to the point where I have switch ups to where I'm not doing the same thing every time, so, that they can't judge me on what I'm doing based on what they're doing. So and then also in the run is becoming stronger and more balanced, so it's nothing that they can't torque or anything. So I'm remaining balanced within double teams, within single blocks, so we can maintain that surge.
So describe what a pass set is.
Oh, so when we set, of course, when we're setting back like this, everybody knows has seen the offensive lineman. It looks like we're backpedaling. Don't worry, it's not bad, So we're there's a lot of things that go in pass. It's really strategic, and especially if you're trying to do switch ups. And I like to highlight our tackles because they do it a lot more, especially with edge rushers. Is they have a big toolbox that they like to use. Interior, we have a toolbox as well. Is knowing where to place our hands. Giving them switch ups, not giving them both hands, giving them 1-2. Maybe sometimes giving them just one at a time, or seeing how their body position. If they're leaning forward, trapping them down so that they can't get a bull rush. There's a lot of crazy different details that we're looking at during a pass rush in those 5 seconds.
So during a game you're describing, you may not want to show everything that you have in the first quarter per se that you might use in the fourth?
Sometimes that's the name of the game, but sometimes we're also reading how D linemen are going to rush us. That's what film study gives us. So we see how do they treat an overset by a guard. If he's a 3-tech or if he's a 4-eye, saying if I set like this, how's he going to react to me? And it's also if I set like this and I know he's going to react that way, how can I counter that or attack that? So there's a lot of strategic things that go into every single pass set.
For a pitcher, sometimes there's tipping their pitch, right? Oh, if he holds it this way or does this or whatnot. For an O-lineman, are you conscious of, I can't show if this is a pass or a run? Do you work on that kind of footwork or how you're sitting or whatever?
Exactly. That's one thing we want to show is Coach Mateos stresses he's coached guys before that you knew when they were running and you knew when they were pass setting. One thing we want to do is we want to be balanced. So you don't know on 3rd and short if we're going to run or if we're going to pass the ball. So that's a good thing for us is they don't know what we're going to do. And also it just remains that, that we're balanced and that we're not showing too much of our hand as well. So it really works that way.
How do you do that when you're huffing and puffing after play, right, where maybe you're going a little tempo in that moment?
That's the testament for fall camp is getting us in that shape and working these plays, during team is going, so many plays in a row, doing those 20-play drives. So when it comes to game day, when we actually get a long drive that maybe, 10 or more plays, that we're not as gassed, that we're just still being the same play in and play out.
Describe to us what kind of improvements you expect from this offense this year. We're hearing a lot of good things, more explosive, more down the field, better in the run game. That's always the hope, right? But it feels like with a returning quarterback and a second-year OC, perhaps those could be reality.
And of course, and a lot of things we're instilling confidence in each and every single player is knowing that their role is important to every single play. You know, the offensive line, we want to work on that surge. We want to work on doing our job, you know, put in those current situations, you know, put it behind us. You know, we're going to get those yardage in those situations. So we're going to say, let's go behind us. Or, you know, everybody can do their job. So that's the one thing is we're instilling confidence in everybody that we can do whatever we want.
Do you ever get validation from a play call? For example, if it's 3rd and short, you're like, oh, they did a run. They have confidence in our ability. Do you ever get validated that way?
Oh, 100%. You know, that's one thing we hope for at O-line. We want 3rd and 1. We want to say, hey, we're going to run it between the tackles. We're going to go forward. That's one thing. That's a pride thing for the offensive line. You know, if they call a pass, we're just like, really? You know, sometimes it's kind of a letdown, but of course we know the coaches have the best thing in mind. But we as offensive linemen, we want to instill the confidence in our coaches that when it comes to those situations that they can run it behind us.
What kind of difference have you seen for Jeff Grimes as he's kind of grown in this 2nd year as a play caller?
You can see that he's definitely he's built that confidence in the players. You know, he sees that we've now started settling in our roles. He knows what each one of us is about now, and he knows what each one of us is capable of. So he knows how to accentuate what players are on the field to their strengths and do the right play calls.
Perhaps the biggest addition for you in the offseason was some ink on your left arm. Will you describe what we have going on here?
Oh, there's a lot going on here. You know, it's a smorgasbord of stuff. So this thing is actually Norse. You know, me and my dad are kind of digging into our Danish heritage a little bit.
Vikings in there?
Oh, maybe? Yes. Oh, yeah. So you have Mjolnir, which is Thor's hammer. Yep. We have the world serpent that circles up here. It's hard to see. Kind of goes up here, which basically is one of the world serpents. Then you have the basically it's our black sun here. That's like a shield of Earth. This I have no idea what it means yet.
Is that Elvish? What is that?
I have no. This is a dead language, all Nordic. It's old stuff, and I don't even speak a second language. I can barely speak English. Come on. And right here, this is actually a compass. This is one of the earliest depictions of a compass used by the Norse people. So and of course the Valknut, which is life, death, and rebirth. It's a lot of deep stuff, but just look cool.
So does it have personal significance to you as well as looks cool?
Of course. I mean, you know, one thing I wanted to do is I'm sometimes an indecisive person, so I wanted to do something because this is definitely very permanent. So I took my time in, you know, choosing it. I wanted to be meaningful and also very cool, like you said. But I took my time choosing it, and I sat in a chair for 8 hours, and I don't regret it at all.
8 hours?
In one sitting, yeah. It was a long day.
What did you do during that time?
Well, I mean, he asked what I wanted to watch on Netflix, but the TV was behind me, and there wasn't a mirror in front of me. So I said, I guess I'll listen to The Office. So I just sat there, you know, basically talked to him, listened to The Office. But I've seen it so many times, I knew exactly what was going on.
8 hours worth of The Office?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was pretty monotonous, but, you know, it's The Office. Come on.
Did you cover 2 seasons, maybe?
Just about. I think I got through the first season.
The first season. How was it again?
It's beautiful. It's a great show. Puts a smile on my face.
How would you describe and characterize this offensive line this year?
You know, one thing we're finding our identity right now, but one thing that we want to know is the tenacity and controlled violence. You know, not a lot of the good things happen when it's uncontrolled violence. People can get out of whack, but we want to play with violence, but that controlled aspect of knowing that we're smart guys on the field, that we know what we're doing, but we're still going to bowl people over. That's the one thing we want to stress.
Well, BYU Sports Nation, karma to you. Stay healthy, and this was the most offensive line insight I've ever received. Thank you for the time, Tristen.
Hey, thank you.